Hello, my name is Steve Bowler, and welcome to the Ansible Lab 1. This is the lab setup. So in this lab, we're going to be taking a look at a few different technologies. We're going to familiarize ourselves with the Oracle Virtualbox, and we're going to also be looking at CentOS9, and also we're going to be configuring Ansible on our Ansible controller. So this lab is going to be primarily focused around just setting up our Ansible environment for the labs that will be following. So the Oracle VirtualBox is the first thing that we're going to cover, and that is represented in this diagram. And all of these devices, these nodes, will be running inside of the VirtualBox environment. So the first thing we want to do is I will just simply go over the topics. We're going to set up the virtual lab environment. We're going to install the VM VirtualBox. We're going to install CentOS9 Stream VirtualBox template. And then from that template, we're going to create the Ansible controller and the hosts that we're going to use. We're going to establish reachability by putting an IP address on the virtual boxes. We're going to rename the hosts, and we're going to install an SSH client, MobaXterm, and then we're going to test SSH from the Xterm environment to the controller and the hosts. And we're going to also ping from the controller to the hosts. So this framework should give us the basics of getting our lab up and running. And once everything is up and running, what we're going to do is configure Ansible on our controller. And then in the subsequent labs, we'll go ahead and start to dive into Ansible a little further. So Ansible, just a very quick background what Ansible is. It allows us to deploy a lot of different configurations to our servers, things that we take away. If we have 100 servers, we don't want to be manually configuring all of them. So we can use a centralized controller such as Ansible to automate a bunch of the processes that we would have to do manually. So let's go ahead and go to the virtualbox.org website, and we'll click on downloads. And the box that I'm downloading it from is a Windows box, so I'm going to click on Windows Hosts. And you can see that we have a download in process for the VirtualBox. So once this is done, what I'm going to do is click on it, and we'll go ahead and get it installed. So we'll go ahead and run this. We'll click yes. And so I've run through this a couple of times. I wanted to get everything ironed out. There are a couple of gotchas if you're setting this up for the first time that I've tried to fix. So we'll go ahead and at the setup, click next. We'll just leave everything the default. Click next and go ahead and hit yes and then install. So this is the first step. If we go back to our diagram, the VirtualBox is what we are going to be running the Linux CentOS Stream 9. That is going to be our operating system that we're going to run on our virtual devices. And we're going to virtualize all this with the VirtualBox appliance. So this makes it very easy for us to set up a lab to test Ansible, to run playbooks, and so forth. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click finish. Looks like we're done. And you can see the little VirtualBox icon pops up. So we'll go ahead, and the next step, what we're going to do is we can add machines. We can go to settings, preferences. There's a lot of functionality here, but before we do this, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get a VDI, or a virtual disk image, and we can do that by going to the we go to the website, the OS Boxes website, and that is here, osboxes.org. So you want to browse there. We go to VM images and then VirtualBox images. So go ahead and click that. And what we'll see is we have many different flavors of OSs that we can run inside of VirtualBox. What we're going to use is CentOS or CentOS. And we're going to download the VirtualBox, the VDI image. So we click on that. And if we scroll down, we want to download CentOS9. So we'll go ahead and go to VirtualBox and we'll click download. So what I've done already is I've downloaded the server version, and that seems to be working for me. So I've already downloaded that, so you don't have to wait for me to do that. And we'll use the info. This gives us the username and the password to use, but there's a couple of gotchas here that I've already run into. The OS Box's username doesn't work. You have to use the username of root and the password osboxes.org. And I'll show you that. So when you download this, I'll just show you what it looks like. You're redirected to a site, and then your download starts. Like I said, I've already downloaded this, so we don't have to wait. I'll go ahead and just cancel that. What it's going to look like is you're going to get this 64-bit file. You just right-click, and you're going to unzip this, and then it's going to bring up. I just unzipped it here, and then you can see it's our CentOS Server 9 package. So we're going to load this now. This goes back to our diagram. If we go back to the diagram, what we're going to do is load the CentOS Stream 9 platform inside the VirtualBox. So we'll go to the VirtualBox. We'll go, let's see, we'll go to Add, I believe. And we'll go to Ansible, 64-bit. Let's see. I think I might have to import this. This OVF file. This is not right. Here we go. You click on New. And then name. What we're going to do is we're going to name this. This is going to be our template. So we'll just put, this is going to be our CentOS 9 template. So we're going to build a template first. And then this is going to be what we're going to use to build our controller and our hosts. And we'll leave this folder as the default where it's going to put this image. And what we want to do is, since I'm running this on, I think this is Windows 10 machine, we want to download this as other Linux 64-bit. And then we'll go ahead and click Next. and our memory that we want to use. We want to boost this up to at least 2 gig. You can run more if you want. I've run this with 4 CentOS boxes, and it was just fine using 2 gig. And then processors, we will go ahead and use 2 CPUs. And this is where we're going to load the that 64-bit file that we downloaded, our CentOS9. So we'll go ahead and click Use an existing virtual disk. And this is where we're going to browse to our package. So wherever you download this to, that's where you want to open it up from. And there we have it. Let's go ahead and hit Next and Finish. And there we have it. So this is our template that we're going to build everything off of. So we can go ahead and, before we start this, what we want to do is go to Network, under the Enable Network Adapter attached to, we want to do a bridged adapter and do that to, we're just doing this to our wireless network adapter. So go ahead and select that. And everything else looks good. Let's go ahead and power this on. It's going to take a second to power up. I'm going to go ahead and pause this for a second while this loads. Okay, so if we go back to our template, you can see that it's loaded. What we're going to do is log in now. So the login is root, and the password is osboxes.org. And there you have it. So now we're sitting inside the CentOS9 template. If we do an ifconfig, the first issue that you see here is that it's not showing us an IP address. So what we can do is do nmtui, hit enter. This will put us into the network manager. We'll go ahead and hit edit connection. We'll choose the default ENP0S3. And then we'll go down to the IPv4. We're going to select the automatically connect box. And we'll leave everything at the default. So we'll go ahead and save that. We'll get out of here. We'll quit. And down here at the bottom, we're going to go ahead and just reboot the box. So we'll do the command shutdown now-R, and we'll let this reboot. It doesn't take too long to reboot, which is awesome with these with VirtualBox. It's pretty fast, and this is by no means a quick computer that I'm running this from. So when I boot this up, when I log in, the first thing we need to verify is that we have an IP address. So we'll go ahead and do root osboxes.org. Then ifconfig. And now you can see that I have an IP address. So it's 192.168.1.13. So that's important. That's important for getting into the box. So we're going to use that. We're going to use MobaXterm is going to be our SSH client, and that's how we're going to get into all of these boxes and control them from our SSH client. So there's another thing that we want to do before we download MobaXterm is we want to create a user. And in order to do that, it's pretty simple. Um, I've made a bunch of notes and put it on GitHub. But it's very simple. Uh, it's just user add at, and then I'm going to create the user account. So if I go back, I just do user add, and then I'll call the user admin, and then I think it's user password. Sorry, it's um, password. We'll just create the password as admin. So we'll just put admin as the password. Okay, so that's it. So now I have my username admin. Password is admin. We'll just keep that simple. Let's go ahead and if you go to mobaxterm.mobatech.net, you go to download, and then we just use the free edition. Click download now. That's going to start we're going to do the installer edition. So you click on that, and that's going to download. We've already downloaded this, so you don't have to wait. So we'll just stop this. And let's go back to our Ansible folder. And so when you run the installer, it's very simple. Just follow all the instructions and finish. And um, this is what you get. So what we're going to do is now we're going to try to connect to our template that we created. So if we go to sessions SSH, we're going to put the host. Let's go back to our terminal. So it's 1.13. So we'll go ahead and put that in there. 192.168.1.13. Click OK, hit accept. So this is what we want to see. We've got reachability from MobaXterm into our CentOS Virtualbox template. And we'll try to log in as admin. And there you have it. I'm in the box. One thing that we can do, we can change the host name. Easy way to do this is to go to nmtui, and we'll just go to cancel this. We'll go back. We'll go set system hostname, and we'll just call this the CentOS9 template. So it looks like we have insufficient privileges, which is okay. So what we can do to fix this, if we just go back to the box itself, we're inside with the root. So we can just change it. This leads me to show you how we can just change this from the command line. So within the command line, we are under root. There's two locations where we want to change the host name. We do a cat etc hostname. You can see it's just labeled OS boxes. Let's go ahead and change that. So we go into the editor. we go ahead and change this to something like CentOS9 template. And we'll save this and quit. And so the second place where we want to change this is the local hosts. So this is the Etsy hosts. So we'll go in and delete everything except for the name localhost, and we'll do CentOS9 template. And that should be it. So we'll now do another shutdown. Now -R to reboot the box. And then that should be it. So once this comes up, what we're going to do is go back to our diagram. We have our template that we created, and that's what we're going to use to create the controller and the 3 hosts. So let's go ahead and see if we log in with root and then osboxes.org. And you can see that our host name has changed to CentOS9 template. So let's go ahead and try. What we're going to do is we're going to power down our template, and then we're going to bring up and start configuring our boxes that are in the diagram. So our controller and host 1, 2, and 3. An easy way to do this, we can just cancel this and we'll just power off the machine. Okay, so now that it's powered off, we'll go ahead and right click and we'll hit clone, and then we'll just name it. So we'll name this the Ansible Controller. And the MAC address policy, this is important. We want to select include all network adapter MAC addresses. We'll hit next and we'll do linked clone. And we'll go ahead and do this 3 more times. So we'll hit clone. We'll just hit host 1. Include all network adapter MAC addresses. Next. Linked clone. Finish. And 2 more times. Okay. So what we've done so far is we have made clones of our CentOS9 template. And let's go ahead and power on the controller and the... Oh, sorry. I don't know what I did here. Let's go ahead and remove this. It's supposed to be clone. This is host 3. Sorry about that. If you saw that, you saw me not set that, I apologize. Okay, linked clone, finish. Okay, that's it. So we have our controller and our 3 hosts. So this is going to be what we're going to use for all the labs. And what we just showed you is how to create the controller and the 3 hosts using VirtualBox and CentOS9. Uh, let's go ahead and power them on. So we're kind of doing them all at once, which is fine. It's no problem. It's a pretty lightweight operating system, which is very helpful and just helps us. We're able to virtualize this whole environment for literally $0 or no money at all. Um, and then what we're going to use is this environment to build our Ansible playbooks, our inventory, run our playbooks, and to show you how we can use Ansible to automate network and server configurations. Uh, very, very simple, just a very simple process instead of having to automatically go out to many devices and configure them all manually. I mean, the end game, that's kind of what you want, right? You want to work smarter, not harder. So the controller is ready to log in. Let's see if we have our admin account. And as you can see, that's kind of the reason why we did all this from the beginning, right? Is we had our template, and let me just go back to show you like what we did. We created the CentOS9 template. We created the admin account. That way it's running on all of these boxes now, so that when we go in, we don't have to worry about doing creating those accounts. So we created the template and we created our controller and hosts from the template. So it saves us time. Let's go to the controller. And it looks like we have the IP address 1.9. It says that it's 113. Let's go to our host 1. Let's log in with admin. And let's do if config. And so this was the problem that I was running into when I was setting this up before. As you can see, we have the same IP address on all of our boxes. So what we can do to fix this, it's pretty simple, is we can just do nmtui. We go to edit connection. We go to IPv4 connection, and we'll just manually put in the IP address. And let's see, you can't see it here, but if I scroll this over, you can see where it says show. We'll select that. And we'll add a new address. We'll just create the controller. It's going to be just create the controller as 1.100. And that should be it. So let's do a shutdown now -R. And we'll do this for all of our other clients. So if we go to host 1, we also need to rename them. So Before we do that, let's go to our controller again and log in. Okay, now you can see we have the new IP address that we hard-coded in, which is the 1.100. So let's go ahead and change the server name now. This is going to be our controller. Okay, so let's get out of here. Okay, what is going on here? Let's get out of here. Quit. Quit. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so what we have to do is our user doesn't have permissions. So what we did was just escape U. We went back to the oldest change, and then we just quit the file. So what we'll do is just log out of the admin account. We'll log in as root osboxes.org, and then from here we'll change it. Etsy, go vi, Etsy hosts. Actually, let's go ahead and quit out of here. Do cat Etsy hosts. Okay, so there we go. Yeah. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and change the name. So we'll do Ansible Controller. Ansible Controller. All right. So now if we do a cat, we have the new name. And there's one more place where we have to change this. And that is under the host name. So we'll go back. We'll do vi Etsy host name. We'll go into edit mode. And we'll put in Ansible Controller. And that should be it. So I apologize about that. Let's go ahead and reboot this box. We'll do a shutdown. Now -R. We'll reboot that. And let's go into the other boxes and do the same thing. So we'll go to host 1. We see that we have the 1.13. Let's go ahead and do this all kind of in unison. So we'll do nmtui, edit connection. And then we'll go to the IPv4 configuration. We'll change this to manual, and we'll go to show, and we'll put in the address. So our hosts will do 192.168.1.200. We'll do 200, 201, and 202. And that should be it. Let's go ahead and log out, and we'll log in with root. We'll set this we'll set the host name. As host 1, and then we'll quit. So let's go ahead and change it one last place. And so what we're going to do is once this is done, we're going to go ahead and test reachability from the controller to all the hosts. We'll install Ansible, and then we'll be done with this lab. Okay, let's reboot host 1. Let's go to host 2. We'll log in as root. And if we do if config, you see that we have the same IP address. So we'll do nmtui. We're going to give this one 200.1. Sorry, we're not going to add. Cancel this. We'll go to edit. And we'll go to manual, show, address. And we'll give it 200.1. This is host 2. We'll go into VI etc hosts. We'll go ahead and put in the name host 2. Save, quit, and we'll go into VI hostname, etc hostname, and change this to host 2. Then we'll reboot this. And one last box. So we'll go to host 3. We'll log in as root. Set the IPv4 configuration to manual. We'll add the IP 192.168.1.202. And again, this is for host 3. So 200, 201, and 202 are going to be our hosts. And that should be it. So we'll change the host name. to host 3. Oops. Okay, so that should be it for our configurations for the devices. We have changed the host names. Let's get out of here. If we go back to our diagram. So what we have now is we have the names host 1, 2, and 3. And we have the Ansible controller. The controller is the .100, 192.168.1.100. And then the hosts are 1.200, 201, and 203. So these all should be reachable. If we go to MobaXterm, and I'm going to go ahead and create these sessions. So let's go ahead and log in and see what we got. So 192.168.1.100 was our controller. And you can see now that it shows up as the Ansible controller. So let's go ahead and create our other sessions. So we're logging into host 1 with the admin account. And it shows up as host 1. So that's good. So let's go to the next two. And then we should be done. So this is host 2. And then the last one will be host 3. And that's it. So one of our last tests we want to do is, now that we have reachability to all of these virtual boxes through our SSH client, we're going to go ahead and run a ping from the controller to the host to make sure that we have layer 3 reachability. And then we'll go ahead and install Ansible on the Ansible controller. It's very simple. So we go back to our controller and let's just run a quick ping. So we'll ping host 1, 192.168.1.200. And you can see that I have reachability. So I'm getting an echo reply. So let's try host 2, which is 201. You can see I have reachability to that. And then last, let's go to host 3, which is 202. So that's it for the reachability. From that perspective, we're good to go. The last thing that we're going to do is install Ansible on the controller. So the commands to do this, if we go back to our controller, the commands to do this are dnf-y Ansible dnf-y Ansible install Ansible -core. So let's go ahead and copy that And we'll go back to MobaXterm, the controller, and we'll go ahead and run this command. And this is the error that we get, is that we need to be logged in with super user privileges. So let's go ahead and try that. So we'll go back to our sessions. We'll try to log in as root. And this is what we get: access denied. Okay, so what we're seeing is that we don't have permissions with the admin user, right? So what we have to do is go in as, we have to add the admin user sudo or super user permissions. So what we'll go into is the Ansible Controller Virtualbox as root. And then we're going to run the command, I believe it's sudo vi. Sorry, vi sudo. And then we're going to add the user. So we have to look at where the root is, and what we're going to do is just add another line, and this is going to be for our admin user. Okay, so that should be it. So now if we go back to our controller, and then we run the command as sudo super user, as looks like we run into a issue. Couldn't connect to the server. Let's try this one more time. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I found this command when we're seeing this type of error, failed to download metadata for repo. Let's go ahead and run this sudo command, and then we'll go ahead and try again. Still won't download. Okay, so let's try again. What I'm going to do is try the install. I've turned off the local firewall. And as you can see, we're still having the issue. Okay, I think I figured it out. Now, let's go ahead and try this. Let's go to the controller. We'll go ahead and log in, root. I think the problem is that I didn't set my gateway. So let's go ahead and do that. that might be important. So let's go to gateway. Go ahead and set it to 192.168.1.1. Oops. Okay, well, now let's give it a shot. Let's go back to MobaXterm and we'll go ahead and run clear. Still failing. Okay, so I think I got it finally. I apologize about all that. I've never had that happen. It seems to have worked. So what I'm gonna do is try it again. And what happened is I just had to reboot the system. So I just, if that ever happens to you, there's a few things you can try. I just got out of VirtualBox altogether and then got back in. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. So let's go ahead and do the command sudo dnf y install Ansible core. And as you can see now, it is working. So yeah, I apologize. I kind of went off the deep end there and started to do some researching. And I was looking at the DNS configurations, um, the reachability tests outside of the local network, outside of the 192.168, the local network, the one network, nothing was working. So all that to say, what I had to do is just do a simple reboot of VirtualBox. So I don't know if it got stressed because I had four systems running at the same time, or what the deal is. Like I said before, this isn't a very strong system that I'm running this on. Uh, so yeah, it could have got bogged down. I apologize though for all that. But I think it was a good lesson, right, for troubleshooting, just to make sure that everything was working properly. So yeah, as you can see, it's downloading Ansible. We have this on our controller, and it looks like it's completed. So to check this, we just do a simple command Ansible version. Or let's see, sorry. The command is Ansible version. So there we have it. We're running Ansible Core 2 14.14. And so this is the beginning of the journey. As you can see, we ran we ran through a few issues that we had with sudo user issue permissions, where we had to elevate uh, our admin account permissions. Yeah, the issue that I was having was with my root, trying to get from uh, MobaXterm using the root. I couldn't get it to work, so I had to create an admin account. But the problem there is that our admin account didn't have elevated sudo permissions. So we went in, um, we showed you how to do that. Um, if we go back, I believe if we go back to our sudo, it was inside the vi sudo. Oh wait, I can't do that because I don't have the admin permission. But I had to do that under the super user. So if we go into our Ansible controller, go in as root, osboxes.org, and if we go vi sudo, what we had to do is we created the admin user so that when I elevated permissions from the admin account, it allowed me to. And so that's it. That's the end of the lab. A lot of good information here. We showed you VirtualBox, how to download it, install it. Uh, we showed you how to go to osboxes.org and get the CentOS9 image, the VDI. Uh, we showed you how to set up change the host names on the CentOS9 machines. We showed you how to put IP addresses onto the boxes manually, and we showed you some of the quirks with the VirtualBox. Unfortunately, with trying to go out and install Ansible, ran into some problems, but in the end, as you can see, we successfully installed Ansible on the controller. And so this is the beginning video, and we showed you how to check the version of Ansible, and that was with the Ansible version command. So that's it. I want to thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.